I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life.
So, JB, what's on your mind?
Not a lot, dude. I'm telling you, I'm fading fast here.
You're fading fast? Okay. Oh, look, I have no internet connection. That's fantastic.
Whoa, your Wi-Fi's down too?
Apparently. I think you cursed me. So wait, how is my audition?
Probably.
How is my audition working if my... Does that even make sense?
If you know, your audition's working on your computer. It doesn't necessarily, it's not recording to the cloud.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, so it'll still... Okay, got it. I don't know how this shit works. You're smarter than I am.
It's all good. That's why I'm saying it.
Okay. Tim is smart in some respects, but not other respects. Actually, JB and
Tim is very smart.
JB and I complement each other quite well. Quite well. And Steve, the three of us, we do. Yeah, we complement each other quite well. JB's kind of like the porridge that's just right, and I'm like the porridge that's too cold. Steve's the porridge that's too hot. I'm going with a Goldilocks reference here, and I'm not really sure that it makes any sense, but that's okay.
No, that makes sense.
I was specifically thinking of like emotionality, because I feel like you're someone who is comfortable with expressing your emotions to a healthy level. I feel like you and I both repress some emotions, and we both bottle things up and don't handle things super well. I feel like Steve is the opposite end of the spectrum, and I think I'm the opposite of Steve, and you're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Where am I going with it? Oh, here we go. So we got some listener questions that Steve and I read that let me see.
Was I not here for?
You were not here for. And I asked you a few of them, but I think there's a lot more. So let me see. Oh, this is a great one. Thanks, Casey. You're an idiot. I'm not even going to read that. I asked Manning, dude, what? I asked Manning for a listener question. He goes, yeah, why do...
What is wrong with that dude?
So many things. All right.
First of all, don't be racist. And second of all, why the hell are you riding a bike?
Yeah.
At 40 years old.
All right. I have a question for you. So, JB. Okay, so we got some listener questions here. So this is from Jeremy in Eastvale, which is like a fancy part of Corona, California.
Which is delicious beer.
Corona is delicious beer. And I was talking to somebody, and they're like, oh, that's like the nice part of Corona. And Corona used to be like the nice side of Norco. And I'm like, well, Norco just fucked up with the name, first of all, because like they named their city after a fucking opiate. Like, what were you thinking, people?
Well, they are in the Inland Empire, aren't they?
Yeah. So there's a lot of opiates in the Inland Empire. I think the Inland Empire is a little bit more meth-centric than opiate-centric, but hey, what do I know?
Well, you know,
when I go
meth,
to Fontucky, I like to play a game called Spot the Meth Lab.
Dude, I would wear a shirt that said Fontucky.
We should make one, and instead of
nobody would really know.
Or do you know what? What is the thing like lover? Like what is it like Ohio's for lovers or whatever? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So whatever, it doesn't matter. There's always some random phrase, and then like an outline or like a picture of like the outline of the state. We should
Fontucky is for meth heads.
Or just write Fontucky and then just have like an outline of like the city.
No, feeling lucky in Fontucky.
There you go, dude. Is there, because you totally have seen a shirt that said feeling lucky in Kentucky, haven't you?
For sure.
Speaking of which, why is the Cincinnati airport in Kentucky?
Because it's right on the border.
Well, sure, but I'm saying, dude, why did whatever city in Kentucky let them build the airport there? They clearly have something to do with maintaining the airport, but yet they let them call it the Cincinnati airport. I'd be pissed.
Well, because they would be calling it I don't even know what the city is. It's like
some fucking Moonshine Flats or something.
No, let me see here. I'm looking this up because I've been there a few times. Cincinnati. It's right on the other side. Is it Covington? Newport, Kentucky, I think.
Interesting. They could call it the new Natty Airport. It would be like SeaTac.
Since Newport?
Sinport. Sinport. I like that. It reminds me of like Tortuga, like where pirates used to come and do
Is it though? Is the Cincinnati Airport in Kentucky?
That's what I've heard. I'm pretty sure it's the truth, but I could be wrong. You know, like it's like I tell people not to just believe things they hear without like analyzing
Google
it,
slamming it?
thinking about it, doing something. Yeah. And then I just do that same thing because I'm a fucking hypocrite, apparently.
Well, it's all good.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things, and then there's things that you thought were real your whole life, and they turn out not to be real.
You're right. It is Cincinnati / Northern Kentucky.
Oh, so they do put the name in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So the only reason I was pretty sure that was real is because I have a friend who is a work colleague who lives in Cincinnati, and he said that. So now I've been to the Cincinnati airport. I don't remember it. I barely remember Cincinnati, and that's not because I was
Actually,
drunk.
it looks like a pretty decent sized airport. They got like 8 runways and shit.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, it's a good size.
How many runways does San Diego have?
1.
Oh, really?
I think 1 or 2, maybe.
Huh, that's
maybe
crazy.
2. It's just that they just have that big one that you fly in. It's not a big airport.
No, it's a small airport, 2 terminals. Well, they might have two
Cincinnati
runways.
Northern Kentucky Airport is also a DHL Express America's hub.
Oh, that makes sense.
Um,
And DHL tried and failed to do the whole domestic thing and like compete with FedEx and UPS, but they're still one of the biggest fucking international carriers ever. And they're owned by a German conglomerate. I believe it's called Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche
God love the Germans, man. They don't fuck around. They really don't.
No, they
They
don't.
start wars, they run banks, and they make cars.
And delicious beer. Have you ever been to the Hofbrauhaus?
No. But German beer...
That is in Newport, Kentucky as well.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's one in Newport.
Why is all the moonshine made in Kentucky? Is that even true? Or am I just being stupid?
No, it's not all made in Kentucky.
Oh, okay. So I got some listener questions for you here. So let's go back to Jeremy from Eastvale, California. So JB, and this question's clearly old because this election happened a while ago. Did you vote in the last election, which was, I don't know, what, a month ago now?
The last election?
Yeah.
Like, not the presidential election.
No. It's a midterm election. It happened.
I did not.
Okay.
I did not vote.
Neither did I. Why or why not? Or I guess the question would be why not? Because clearly I don't have to. Yeah.
Laziness.
Fair enough. Mine would be laziness and more laziness because I don't like being an uninformed voter, and I was too lazy to be informed.
That would be my real answer.
Okay, here's an interesting.
I'm not going to be an uninformed voter because I'm not just going to go like throw darts at a board.
Right, and then I'm not going to vote for somebody based on what I heard about them on the news or Facebook or anything else because that is just so not
what they want us to do.
Yeah, exactly. So here's Jeremy's second question. Steve looks like a little guy while JB and Tim are larger. Who could bench Steve more times, JB or Tim?
That's a toss-up now, I think.
I think you're right because I mean
it would be I would say maybe 15 years ago, probably you. I don't know. I think it would have always been a toss-up.
I think you're right, dude. I think the difference is 15 years ago, we would have cared.
True.
And now I'd be like, go JB, yeah. And you'd be like, go Tim, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
No confrontation. Awesome.
It's not even about that. It's just about like...
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
I mean, like, I don't know, dude, you're my brother. So it's like, maybe like between us, I'd want to beat you. And like, maybe I'd want to punch you. But then like, if someone else punched you, I was like, dude, you can't punch him. He's mine.
Well,
that's my brother. Only I can punch my brother.
A healthy rivalry.
Yeah, although I don't think we have that. So it's all good. All right. Biggest fear, biggest regret, favorite all-time song. Okay, we'll do this one at a time. What is your biggest fear? It's a fucking good one and so hard to answer.
That is a good question.
I don't even know.
There's a lot of them. Not really a lot. There's a few. Like medical shit scares the hell out of me.
Dude, like I was reading a fucking. They did this whole spread in Men's Health. The latest Men's Health that came out, and it was all on like the Widowmaker, and then it broke it into 5-minute intervals. And it was like at 5 minutes, this is what's happening, and this is what you're experiencing. At 10 minutes, I'm like, dude, so pretty much at 25 minutes, I'm fucking dead. So like, how the fuck do reduce the plaque in your arteries? Like, okay, so like you're telling me to eat healthier, like, but and you how the fuck am I don't even know, dude. I don't even know how to feel about that.
Yeah. That kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, well, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go, so.
All right. So on this sort of dark topic, I have a follow-up question to that from listener Tim Frick in San Diego, California. If you had something that was going to kill you, but not in 25 minutes. Let's say you had, 30, 60, 90 days to live. What do you do?
Wait, rephrase
So
the question.
whatever, let's say the doctor diagnoses you and you have some problem that is going to kill you in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let's say 30 days is kind of short. Let's say let's say 3 to 6 months out. Like that's how much you have, because that gives you some time to plan something. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you have like a bucket list?
Well, I mean, I don't. I don't have a bucket list. I'm so like boring that way.
Not really though.
Like I guess maybe I've just been very fortunate and have done a bunch of cool things that I never thought I would do anyways.
Some stuff,
so
yeah, I mean, there's some. First of all, like I feel like you and I, we've done all the stuff that some people get to like their 40s or 50s, and like they were too risk averse to try stupid things. Like, oh, I don't know. How do I say this and not be too brazen?
incriminating?
Exactly. There's things that people like, oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I party more? Why didn't I drink more? Why didn't I try being an alcoholic? Why didn't I try pseudo illegal drugs? So we've done all that. I mean, as far as the international stuff, like I would love to go to Australia someday for I don't know what reason, to punch a kangaroo. Like you've done that. You've done a bunch of international travel with your job.
I have punched a few kangaroos.
Interesting.
No, I haven't. Yeah, I've done Australia a couple times, and it's awesome. You should go. I enjoyed it.
Have you done any Asian travel with country music?
I've been to Japan.
Okay. All right. Interesting. How do you feel about Japan?
I enjoyed Japan. We did Tokyo for a couple days, and then we flew down to Okinawa.
Okinawa is there's like a big military base in Okinawa, isn't there?
That's exactly where we did the show. So yes, and it was good. I enjoyed. I wish we had a few more days in Tokyo just to I mean, there's just so much to do.
Well, I heard that Japanese people like motivation, and so I'm thinking like if we can really kind of expand this Project Reclamation thing out to some like live dates and some speaking engagements. I'm thinking like Tokyo, like we would love to come visit you. So maybe you should like book us.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm talking to a city, because I'm sure it's people in the city that would need to book us. But
no, they are broadcasting your voice over every speaker.
I don't speak
the Tokyo train system,
and I don't speak Japanese, but
they speak English.
That is true. They do. But I have a great respect for Japanese people, I must say.
I really respect the fact that they take a great deal of pride in keeping their city clean. It's amazing. It's immaculate. Like you go down to the subway and there is not a piece of trash. It's like dusted and clean and nice. It's just like,
and Tokyo is like,
holy moly.
I mean, it is the biggest, most packed city in Japan, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like Manhattan or like San Francisco is to California.
Yeah, it's to that caliber.
And those are the two cities I'm thinking of that are fucking filthy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, San Francisco, I like you guys, but like have some fucking pride in your city. Seriously. Like your city has gained an immense amount of wealth in the last 20 years. I mean, when I was a kid, it used to be a decent city and it used to be kind of clean. Now you guys have amassed the most ridiculous amount of wealth between the rise in housing prices and all of the .com bullshit and all of the, what do you call it? Silicon Valley bullshit. Like, take some fucking pride in your city. I don't know why I'm attacking people from San Francisco. I'm going to have to edit this out. This is not cool. But, no, but that's great, dude. The Japanese people, they just love to keep their cities clean. You know what's interesting is, have you been to Nagasaki or Hiroshima?
I have not.
Neither have I, but I have seen pictures and they look fucking beautiful.
Yeah, no, just the Japanese artwork and the culture, the history, the tradition, it's just so completely intertwined in everything that you see.
And it's just, I think sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was kind of all I had to say.
It's a pride. It's a pride.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not even it's not a nationalist pride. Because, and I don't want to really go down this path too far, but I mean, one of the reasons that I have just so much respect for Japanese people in general is in the 40s when they did the whole internment camp thing, which we're not going to go into. But dude, the Japanese American citizens who were literally being persecuted for no reason. I mean, they had literally come to America to want to be American citizens, but just their pride in even America, let's say there was first generation Japanese Americans who had so much pride that they were like, there was two phrases that they used, and I don't remember what they were, but one of them essentially was, it is what it is. And the other one was something about like, well, I do what I do for my country, something to that. I'm probably butchering these, but they went along with it because they were like, you know what? I'm here. I'm American. If this is what I have to do, that's okay. And just the strength of their character and the pride in just the Japanese people in general it's impressive. It really is.
Well, it's like an ownership. They take ownership in their surroundings.
But it's something that's like inside them and their heart, because
it's honor. It's called honor. That's
right,
pretty much what it is. I mean,
you could probably it goes back to like the samurai codes and stuff like that. Maybe, I have no idea. I mean, I'm probably overgeneralizing this, but it just
no, it's fine. I mean, that's what you're thinking of is honor. You have honor, and you're honoring yourself, you're honoring your community, you're honoring your country. You're giving to your country, not asking what your country can give to you, kind of thing.
You mentioned an interesting word there, ownership, and that's straight. I'm going to give Jocko Willink a shout out. I mean, that's straight Jocko Willink. Extreme Ownership, great book, by the way. If you're in business or the military, or you just are interested in leadership in general, best leadership book I've ever read. It's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. I probably just said his name wrong. But no, it's interesting. It is total ownership, because there's people with like a very strong pride in like where they come from and their roots. And that's cool. I respect that. But then like these Japanese Americans who were like first, they literally were born in Japan, came here, and then they get persecuted because they did that. But when they did that, they were like, dude, I'm all in. Like, I'm all in for America. And then they were like, hey, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. I mean, that sense of ownership, owning the decision and having that pride in themselves it's powerful, dude. It's impressive.
Well, and it's almost more American than the people that were putting them in the camps in the first place.
Okay, dude, that is a great point.
More of an American ideal, more of an American in practice than the people that were
and maybe
putting them in there.
More deserving of being American, let's be honest.
Well, for sure.
And it's funny.
But in doing that, they would never, claim the nationalism.
But that's the thing, though. The minute that they claim the nationalism, they become just as bad as the idiot that put them in there.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's kind of like someone who's a true badass never says they're a badass. Someone who's truly awesome never has to claim they're awesome. Someone who's really funny never has to tell people they're funny,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's that. And it's like, but then I don't know, it's just, it's interesting. And then you look at, and even today, I mean, there is, the Japanese American people and their kind of their culture they could be so mad about that stuff. And it was a travesty. Like none of my family was in America at that point in time, but I mean, they don't dwell on that kind of stuff. Their honor is so strong that they just always want to move forward. And like, I think we could all learn something from that.
When did your grandparents come over here?
They came over, they immigrated from Germany to Canada, because it was easier to go through Canada and then come through Canada to go to the U.S. than to come straight from Germany. But also this was shortly after World War II, so I'm pretty sure that the Americans probably hated the Germans at this point in time. So this is probably like the 50s.
Oh, okay.
So they went to Canada, and then they came through Canada down to California. And
sweet.
I think my dad's older brother was actually born in Canada. And then my dad was born and raised in Santa Barbara, which I'm really glad you guys put that fire out, because I was afraid I wasn't going to.
Yeah, that was right next to your.
Dude, it was right next to my fucking parents' house, and it was right next to like probably a bunch of places your dad like went and shoot horses when he was around.
Well, it was right. It was right. It was super close to the house that I grew up in.
The one with the trampoline?
No, like the Patterson house.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Where was the one with the trampoline?
Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
So close to that too.
Yeah. Well, they weren't that far apart. It was just like we traded the trampoline for the pool, which I think the pool was a huge upgrade. Let's be honest.
For sure.
That pool was sick, dude.
The kidney bean.
Does live in that house now?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice house. I have a lot of good memories from that house, and a lot of painful memories from that house. I didn't experience my first hangover there, but I'm sure I experienced my second through my 12th, maybe 30th. I'm not really sure. Zima. So I heard Zima. I could swear, dude, did Zima leave for a while and then it came back?
Zima, yeah.
Okay.
It did.
Just want to make sure.
And I think it may have been gone again. I think it was just like a limited.
No, I just heard a thing for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't even remember what Zima tastes like. Was it beer? It wasn't beer. It was like
it's like Smirnoff Ice. It's like
kind of like a
it's a malt
shitty
liquor,
malt liquor,
like a fruity, effervescent.
You know, fucking Smirnoff Ice. It's just so dishonest. There's no vodka in malt liquor. Sorry, guys. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
It's just headache.
It's all headache. Because here's the thing. I mean, it's like it's less alcohol, but then it's more carbonation and way more sugar. And let's be honest.
It's the sugar.
I could be wrong, but I think that I get a way worse hangover from sugar than I do from alcohol these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can wake up and, feel hungover and not have had anything to drink if I had, cookies or sugar or something like that.
For sure, man. Or like when I was, lately I don't think I eat enough to really... But I remember when I was on like a no carb thing, like a paleo or keto, whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. And I had a cheat night, and I ate a bunch of fucking pizza and probably some breadsticks and just like carb-a-palooza, like horrible. I woke up with literally the worst hangover of my life from carbs. Mm-hmm. And all my worst hangovers from alcohol. If you really think about it, it's like Fireball, Jägermeister, something mixed like margaritas. It's always, dude, there's always sugar involved. Now, I mean, I've obviously had some bad hangovers without sugar involved, but I feel like sugar always compounds it. Sugar is pretty much the devil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it really is.
I mean,
in overdosages.
In a lot of dosages.
I mean, it's not bad if you, use it sparingly. I try to get rid of it at all costs.
You really should. I mean, because like you said, sparingly, but there's already a ton of sugar in all the sauces we use. In any fruit you eat, and fruit's not a bad thing.
Well, and like fructose, is better than what's the manufactured sugar?
Glucose?
Is it glucose?
I think glucose is like glucose is like the simplified version of sugar.
Glucose is like
pure
sugar, and I don't know.
Sucralose, glycolose, saccharose. I have no idea, dude.
Those all sound like Greek gods. But I mean, as far as all the sugar, fructose is the most is the easiest to digest, and I mean, because it's natural.
Well, and
it comes in fruit.
Glucose is the most simple. I think it says the most. I'm going to say this like I know what I'm talking about, even though I don't. Glucose is the most simplified version of sugar molecules. Your brain, I do know this. Your brain functions on glucose, so your brain always needs glucose to function. This is why you feel stupid when you have low blood sugar, because your brain has no fucking glucose. But then your liver stores glycogen, and glycogen can be broken down into glucose. So like, it's not. Don't ever use that as an excuse. You don't need glucose, but we do need glucose. You have it already. You don't need it. Where the fuck was I going with? Oh, JB, I have an interesting thing. So I'm talking to my mom. So my mom's a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. So there was a podcast that we were talking about, and you were talking about how the brain, similar to a muscle, uses a ton of calories, and that made sense to me. And I think I used some example like, it's kind of cross species because when Jax is my dog. For those of you who don't know, we have no idea what the fuck he is. He's essentially mostly half pit bull and mostly half Great Dane. He's probably not pure either of those, but he's a cool dog, super sweet, super lazy. When we went to the adoption event where him and his whole litter, including his sister, which I also own, her name is Paige, which is short for Rampage because she's fucking crazy. All of the dogs, besides Jax, were running around, pick me, oh my God, I'm so cute, blah, 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 blah. They were all tiny little dogs. Jax, well, I didn't know he was Jax at the time. This dog is asleep in the corner, so I go and I was like, ooh. My roommate and my sister, they're playing with these dogs that are all crazy. I'm like, can I see that one? I go pick him up. I look at him. I hold it up to my face. He opens one eye, like one bloodshot eye. And he's like, what the fuck do you want? And then I put him on like my shoulder and he goes back to sleep. So that's my dog, Jax. And he, to this day, he's 7, almost 7. Still just as lazy. Amazing. So we talk about how Jax, Jax can go run, no matter how lazy he is. Like, you take him to the park, and I mean, he can run. I don't know. The dude could probably hit like 30 plus miles an hour. I mean, he's an impressive dog. He can jump over 6 feet. He can leap an entire couch lengthwise. I mean, dude's got skills, but he's lazy as fuck. But anyways, so all of that included, like when he would go to a dog class and actually have to use his brain and like think about things and listen to things, an hour of that, and he was way more tired than an hour of physical activity of any sort. So JB made the kind of likened the brain to a muscle, and I was kind of like, I've thought about that, and I mean JB.
Well, I mean, isn't it? I mean, it's an organ.
It's an organ. It's not a muscle. So no. So I mean, but you're absolutely right, because think about it. When you have a stressful day or anything where, let's say you didn't get out of the fucking chair, or you didn't get off the couch all day, but you had all these calls and you had bills and you had whatever, stressful day will make you more tired than going to the gym and doing a full workout. And so I was really curious. So I talked to my mom about this. My mom's a teacher, so she had gotten some article, and I'll need to read it so I can reference it. Because thanks, Mom, by the way, Drew Frick, you're amazing. So my mom sent me some article, and they actually did studies where they did brain scans, and when people did activities that they made them think about certain things, they actually showed that the brain in certain areas that are responsible for such things actually grows. Now, I don't know that there's no evidence of this, and I don't know that it works exactly like this, but when you lift, let's say JB is trying to build his biceps, so he does some really heavy curls. That what he's actually doing by doing super heavy curls is he's actually breaking the muscle tissue down. And then as the muscle tissue repairs, that's when it grows, and that's how he makes his biceps bigger. So
yeah, you're bridging the gap.
Right. So I don't know that the breakdown and building is exactly the same, but essentially you are the parts of your brain that you're using, as you use them and actually kind of stress them out a little bit to that extent, you're actually growing and building your brain, which is super interesting.
Is it a permanent growth, or is it like a I don't want to say swelling, but
I don't know if it's a growth and
or is it just like a blood flow
for
thing,
my stupidity,
like
but I don't know that I don't know that it's actual growth in size, or more of like a growth in, say, electrical conductivity maybe.
Oh, okay.
So maybe
a growth in
the
activity.
neurons are firing more than actually growing. So it's maybe not a growth of the actual tissue, the size of the tissue, but more of a growth of, let's say, the measurable, like electromagnetic, electroconductive
yeah, for sure,
activity, a growth in activity versus, but still, I just thought it was very interesting, because I remember you said that and I totally agreed with it, but like I was just like, it made me think about kind of like the physiology behind it. Like, yeah, you're right, dude. Like you must use a ton of energy and calories when you use your brain, but like, how does that work? Because like it's a weird. Dude, the brain is just a weird organ. It's like a bunch of noodles in your head.
Well, I mean, and it's like the only organ that controls your muscles, I guess.
Controls
you
everything.
Could say. It controls everything, obviously.
There's reflex loops where you have reflexes that can operate without the brain, but they essentially use your spinal cord, and you need your brain for your spinal cord to function. So.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Reflexes,
I'm not a
including like breathing, basically bypass the brain in a way that it goes from, the sensor of the whatever the muscle is controlling it to the spinal cord and then right back. So they bypass that whole having to go to the brain and then back to that part of the spinal cord and then back.
Well, and that's an evolutionary. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, and obviously there's a ton of animals. That's why if you are hiking and you kill a rattlesnake, you have to bury the rattlesnake's head or hide it somewhere, because that poison injection of the rattlesnake will continue to function after the rattlesnake's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, rattlesnake also tastes like chicken. Just to
yes, it does.
We're just looping back around to our earlier conversation.
We so you remember my old neighbor?
Which one?
John Ho. He owned Ming Dynasty.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so this was on Berkeley. He had a live fish business, but he also had a piece of property that he would go.
Did you say live fish business?
Yeah, so he would go down to like the docks in Orange County or whatever, or San Francisco, and get live fish and bring them back to his restaurant. I remember him bringing over rattlesnake one time. Like, we used to come home and we'd have like a sink full of giant prawns, or like a giant sheep's head fish or something like that in our sink.
Sheep's head,
just because he was cool, and he would drop, and then he'd come over and prepare it. And one time he brought over rattlesnake because he had run into one or two, and he ended up making like this incredible like rattlesnake soup kind of thing. I was like, holy moly. That was my story.
No, that's a good story. We were hiking once, and we killed a rattlesnake. I think other people, I don't know, it was a long time ago. Someone killed a rattlesnake, and And then we literally it just cooked it on the campfire, and it was
Oh, yeah.
I think I got like kind of like the tail part of it. It was tough, but it just tasted like chicken. I'm pretty sure all reptiles taste like chicken, but the ones who live in swamps just taste like chicken that was marinated in swamp water, like a gator. And I'm guessing that.
What if chickens are actually reptiles?
Well, dude, I mean, if you think about it, look at.
They're not that far off.
Well, you look at
it's the
dinosaurs,
whole,
dude, and the whole thing is like, is a dinosaur a reptile or is it a bird? Well, maybe that's kind of where the two spun off of. Maybe that was like the common link. So clearly reptiles and birds may not be that far apart. I mean, it's not.
They both have cloacas, don't they?
They do both have cloacas. And cloacas are a fantastic thing. I mean.
It's a penis and a butthole.
Kind of, sort of. I think now I'm going to stretch my biology knowledge. I believe the males do have a penis somewhere up inside that cloaca because they still they need some sort of a male USB port to plug into the female.
Yeah, they
USB
do need
port.
the...
But it's all up inside there. But essentially, it is their sex organ, their urinary organ, and their, what do you call the
feces organ.
The feces area organ.
Their defecation organ.
Is why when a bird poops on something, and reptiles, same thing, it is weird, like liquid and like gross, because that is poop and pee at the same time, because that's how they do it. That's what a cloaca is. So yeah, you're correct, my friend. I think the biggest difference is clearly birds, obviously some of them, most of them, maybe, have the ability to fly. And wings obviously comes along with that ability. And they have, their bone structure is more hollow, but that's only to support their flight. So...
Well, that's also evolutionary.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, other than that, maybe dinosaurs spawned birds and reptiles. Who knows?
Well, but there was flying dinosaurs too. So.
Damn it! But were there? Or is that all a myth?
I don't know.
Are you sure?
I wasn't there.
Neither was I.
The pterodactyl that starts with a P.
Pterodactyl, pterodon.
Pterodactyl.
What's another word that starts with a P and then a T and has a P silent? The P is silent. P is never silent, and it smells like tuna or asparagus. Asparagus.
I don't know if any other PET word.
Neither do I. I'm sure there's one that exists, and I am too fucking lazy to look it up. So hey,
I mean, like pneumonia. Doesn't pneumonia start with a P?
It's a P and N though, but I asked for a PT word.
Yeah.
But you know what? That is JB. You are reaching inside the annals, not anals, but annals of your brain library, and you're finding that silent P, which I wasn't willing to do. So hey, dude, shout out to JB. JB is an amazing person.
I'm here.
By the way, JB,
shout out to me.
By the way, JB, shout out to you. Drew Frick, I was hanging out with her this weekend, and she wanted me to tell you that you're very, very smart and very entertaining.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that.
My mom loves you.
Thanks, Mama Drew.
Yeah, Mama Drew. There you go.
I love you, Mama Drew.
So, JB, I got some shout outs to do here. Let me see. Listener questions. Did I have any more listener questions? Let's go check. Oh, dude. We never even answered the questions I just asked. Biggest fear. I think we kind of answered. Did we answer that? We sort of did.
Yeah,
I think it's just dying of something. But ultimately, I don't think fear is actually the actual medical problem. I think it's dying before we've done the stuff that we want to do. Maybe the problem is that we don't know what we want to do.
That's definitely an issue.
Yeah, maybe that's it. What is your biggest regret? Do you have a biggest regret?
No. I think about that. I think about that often, and I'm
so do I.
What if I'd have done this? I'm like, well, but then I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, but dude, it's like every.
I mean, there may be some weird variation of here, but
sure.
It's the whole butterfly.
It is the whole butterfly effect, and it's like
so.
It's like, I wish
had I done something different, then I wouldn't be here.
What if I had gotten surgery sooner? What if I had lost weight sooner? What if I had met said girl sooner? What if I? But you're right though. I mean, I think everything in my life that's amazing is amazing because it happened the exact way it did. And it happened at the exact time that it did. Because timing is fucking everything. Let's be honest.
Well, it's all perspective, too, because it may not have seemed amazing.
Exactly. That just plays into the whole timing thing. Because, maybe if I had met said girl, whatever, I'm just speaking hypothetically, or we could literally talk about Utah. If I had met Utah a year ago, would I have appreciated her? I don't know. If you had met KB at a different time, would you have appreciated her enough to realize that you wanted her to be the mother of your children? Maybe not.
Yeah.
And that would have just fucked up everything. So, yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. I don't have any regrets really, but I think that's by design. I think that's something that not too fairly recently I've realized, and is that Oh, well, I regret, like,
Well, and regrets being something that have to be so drastic that you would change the situation that you're in to go back and do, kind of thing. Like, there's nothing that I would change that drastically.
and I hadn't made the connection, but your butterfly effect analogy is extremely interesting because to change one thing that I regret, I have to be willing to change everything else that everything else since then or before then has led up to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's also the fantasy, you just go back and change one thing. It's like, well, yeah, but
there's no
cheating.
such thing. Once
Exactly.
if you go back in time 5 minutes, that would probably not affect a whole lot of other things. But when you're talking about 5 years ago, like how many things did every decision you make affect? I mean, who knows? I can't give you that answer, but it's
Well, and think about it like in like navigating, an old school airplane or something like that. You're looking at a map, and 1 degree off isn't that bad if you're traveling for 5 minutes. But if you're traveling for 5 hours, that could be hundreds of miles.
right. But then let's say you changed that one. Let's say you changed the one turn in that journey that led you 1 degree off kilter. But then here's the problem: does that also change all the decisions you made after that brought you back to your actual route?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if it doesn't, then
it's exponential.
Right. And if it doesn't, then all those changes you made after that, up until what brought you back to the exact path that you were supposed to be on, would really bring you to X amount of degrees off kilter. So
It's kind of like compounded interest.
that in and of itself is the butterfly effect. Like, you don't know what it's going to change. And then does it change something else did, Does you changing one thing affect something that, KB does that makes something else happen that makes, you guys not meet?
Well, yeah, because
or makes you guys,
because we're all completely interconnected.
Makes one of you, not fertile, so you don't have your little mini me. And like, how does that affect your life?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want you to.
Which is even more motivation to not go back and change anything.
Well, and I think that's it though. Like, we are who we are. It's that whole thing. Like, dude, we're not. Don't look back. Look back enough to learn something to make the future better. But like, we're not going that way. We're going this way. We're looking forward.
Well, and had I fucked everything up and been, not where I want to be or not anywhere, in a really good position, maybe I would. But
dude, there have
said
been
by
times in
somebody
your life when you
who
were
has
probably there, or you would have thought you were there at the time.
For sure.
There's certainly been times in my life where had a fucking, Robin Williams in a magic lamp popped out and said, duh, you can change everything. Like, well, fucking, this was dumb. Like, let's change that. But how much did that affect moving forward? And like, how much has that affected like who I am? And I mean,
yeah,
all of, I think, and I don't think this is on purpose, because we tell you all to learn from failure, learn from mistakes, learn from everything, but especially the things that don't feel good. Learn from those, especially because there's something to be learned. So you, if for no other reason, so you don't have to repeat that feeling. But I think that by accident, by design, by the good grace of Gaia, the tree goddess, I've some of my worst experiences, and even at times when I was too dumb to even realize this, were some of the things that led to the biggest growth and the best growth in my life. And we've talked about that. But I mean, that's why I'm with you, dude. I wouldn't change anything. So
yeah, no, I agree with you.
Okay, here's an interesting one. What is your favorite all-time song?
Oh, God, on the spot. If I had to pick one,
this is hard.
This is very hard. I'm trying to think.
It's like, do you go by like how much enjoyment you get from listening to the song? Do you go by like?
I'm kind of going off like how many times I've listened to the song. God dang, I have no idea.
Okay. Well, what is the song you've listened to the most times in your life?
I have no idea.
What is the song that like brings you the greatest joy or the biggest smile on your face when you hear it?
Okay, so this is going to be really weird, and I just thought of this, but do you know the artist is? He's
dude,
like a big old fat dude from
from
Hawaii.
He took a famous song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, made famous by Judy Garland. Is that who sang it? Is that even a person? Yeah, he changed his song so fucking completely that it was a different song, and it's amazing. Yeah.
Whenever I hear that song,
dude,
like the way that he does it.
Fuck. You just changed my answer.
It always brings a smile to my
So
face.
it used to always bring a smile to my face. And then at my Opa's German for grandpa, for all of you, at my Opa's memorial, I made a sort of a video collage. And this was before I was good at that, thanks to JB. And I used 3 songs. And one was the Brad Paisley song. The second one, I can't remember what it was. And the third one was that is rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So that song, I feel like it had like emotional meaning before that, but now it just reminds me of my Opa. And dude, you met my Opa. Like, he was just an amazing
for sure.
man. So dude, now I had another answer, but I think you just changed it, and now I'm gonna
What was your other answer?
My other answer was Carry On My Wayward Son. Randomly, one of my guilty pleasures that I'm not afraid to admit is I love the show Supernatural. I don't know why. It's just a fun show to watch. It's about these 2 brothers who fight monsters. It is what it is. So one of the like main theme songs in that show, and it's not the theme song, but one of the shows that the songs that kind of plays throughout that is the Kansas song "Carry On My Wayward Son." So at Comic-Con last year, I randomly went to the Supernatural panel, which I'd been to before a bunch of times. A friend of mine is actually good friends with Jensen Ackles. I asked him a question one time at one Comic-Con it was funny, and if I'd asked him the question, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I went randomly because my friend's like, oh, we should go, and my friend's from Canada, and like she comes down every year, and I'm like, sure, I'll go with you, that's fine. We probably won't get in, but we did. So sure enough, they're like, hey man, it's been 12 or 13, 14 years. So we want to thank the fans, and literally the band Kansas, the lights go off, the lights come back on, the band Kansas is boom there playing the song "Carry On My Wayward Son." Super cool. So a long time ago, because of that song, because of that show, and I knew that song before the show, but I made that my dad's ringtone because I feel like I have fucked up so many times, and my dad has always, both my parents, they don't always understand why or how I'm so stupid, but they've always been there for me. And like, that means a lot to me. So I feel like I'm their wayward son. And it's like, I feel like they're always like, why did he do this shit? Like, why did he do this again? Or why did he do this? But they're always like, fine, we'll support him. And like, they've always been in my corner. And at some point, it seems bleak at some point, but at some point I always kind of pull through and make them proud of me. And honestly, that's all I ever really want to do in life at this point is make my parents proud of me. Because they've always, even when I've just been so fucking stupid, they should have just disowned me or fucking got rid of me, or I don't know, had a 47th trimester abortion, but they didn't. Like, they always stood by me, and that means a lot to me. So I've always made that my dad's ringtone because I feel like I'm his wayward son. So that's kind of the song that I think of.
That's actually a really, really good answer.
That is a song that I think of. However, I have to also couple in the song that you just mentioned because that was by fault of my own. I made that part of the memorial video for my Opa, and clearly I don't remember the middle song, and the other one is a Brad Paisley song, and I don't even remember what song it was. Clearly that third one is the one that stuck with me.
Probably when I get to where I think that's
exactly what it was. Doesn't matter though, but clearly the Is song is the one that stuck with me because that's the one that every time I hear it now, I'm like happy, but also because my Opa was similar to your dad. His memorial was a lot of people that loved him. We celebrated his life. He wasn't a person who wanted to be. He wouldn't have wanted anyone to be sad for him. I mean,
he didn't want to be mourned.
Part of the reason he died is because he didn't want it. Like, he was averse to growing old and averse to being taken care of. Like, he wanted to be there for people and be the life of the party and make people smile and make people happy, and that was his persona. And so when he started approaching that age where he needed to be taken care of, and it just, that wasn't him. And not that he consciously made the decision, but it's just that partially he subconsciously made the decision that wasn't for him. So it is what it is. But so that song sticks with me for that. And then the Carry On My Wayward Son is kind of a tribute in my heart and my mind to my parents, not always understanding why or how I'm so fucking stupid, but in the end, still rising above my mistakes and my stupidity to still make them proud of me.
Dude, solid answers.
Yeah. So, you three went to high school together and have known each other for way too long. God, isn't that true? I wish I could get rid of you. Who was the... this is a good one. And I think I think the answer is JB to at least like most of these. Who was the first one to have a girlfriend? That was definitely you.
Yeah.
Loma Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm glad you got that little... Get in a car accident. I think that was me for sure because I got into I fell asleep at the wheel and I got into a car accident when I was like 16.
You tried to take out a semi truck.
No, I tried to take out an old lady in like a Ford Taurus.
Oh,
But
okay.
granted, I mean Ford Taurus not a slouch of a car. However, JB, can you explain the truck that I was driving at the time?
Oh yeah, the big you were that. Okay, this was then the you tried to take on a semi later on.
Yes,
This was the 76
the 76
lifted
Chevy 4x4.
Chevy KC10. Yeah, with a 6-inch lift and 35-inch BF Goodrich all
That
terrains.
is so true. Until the second time I had to get tires, and then I went with I think it was the Cooper Discoveries.
Cooper?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had on mine because I had a 76 Dodge Power
the Blue
Wagon.
Bomber and the Camo Camel.
Yep.
God, I missed that. Those were
Yeah, those are fun times.
yeah, dude. We had CB radios in our trucks. We used to go on road trips and talk to each other and pretend like.
Yeah, and we'd freak people out. We'd sit in our trucks
Okay,
at night
so
and
we had
bark at
not only did
people.
we have CB radios in our trucks, but we had the CB radios also hooked up to megaphones right inside our radiator grills, so we could literally yell at people and say things and make siren noises and pull people over. That was just a joke, though. Now, there are people that have the same kind of getup going on that are going to try and pull you over and like commit horrible crimes against you. So unless it's like a well-marked police car, don't pull over.
Yeah, if it's a lifted Chevy
Yeah,
truck
don't pull over.
from the
Now,
70s.
I've been to Vegas plenty of times, and I have seen people get pulled over by lifted 4x4 F-150s and Toyota Camrys and all. Dude, Vegas is like the Wild West. Like literally, the cops will drive anything, and they don't mark anything, and they'll pull you over for the stupidest violations. And fuck that. I'm so happy. That is the one thing about California that makes me happy. Like California would never tolerate that shit. But if you're ever getting pulled over by a car that you have any suspicion that isn't a cop car, just drive to the nearest police station. You're allowed to do that. You're totally allowed to do that. Drive to the nearest police station and let them pull you over there. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because I like you guys, and I don't want to see any of you get robbed or harmed or any of that stuff. So if you have suspicions about the person pulling you over, head to the nearest police station. It's totally legal, especially if it's an unmarked car. That's my random, I need a little star to fly over my head and say, toot, 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 and say, the more you know.
And now you know.
PSAs, yeah.
Or the more you know.
That is it. The more you know.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I think I'm done
JB
for the
is
evening.
done for the evening. JB, I have some stuff here for real quick. So, who's our friend? That gigantic man who's...
Oh, DWG. Wait, DWJ.
So, I do have a quote.
DRJ. What the hell, W? The walk?
DTRJ. Right?
Yes.
Dwayne the
I guess I was thinking
Rock
of DW as like Dwayne.
Johnson. Well, it's fine. DW is the Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other DW right now. So, we have a quote from our friend.
The Rock says, The Rock says, The Rock says, The Rock says.
So, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, his quote that I love is, one of the most important things you can accomplish is just being yourself. It's super simple, but it's super powerful. JB.
Yeah.
All right.
Was the second part of it the quote too, or is it just the first
One
part?
of the most important things... No. Just the first part. It's one sentence.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, that's fine, dude. Start quote. One of the most important things you can accomplish is just being yourself. End quote.
End quote. Got it.
Dwayne
Yeah.
Johnson.
No, it is super simple and super
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that is kind of the whole... This is not going to be a good analogy, but I'm going to roll with it. Like, one of the whole things is like, you know, the hardest part about overcoming a problem or, you know, getting clean from alcoholism, whatever it is that you're trying to do. The hardest part is admitting you have a problem or admitting whatever. Being honest with yourself. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you guys, as Steve would say. So, you know, shout out to Steve. Boom.
Short of
the
the
long. Baby. So, yeah, Steve and Chang. So, I think that is the same kind of thing. It's just not admitting you have a problem, but admitting that you are who you are. And there's a certain element to, and this will probably be a topic someday, but the whole, like, how do I say this without being foul? Like, just stop giving a fuck what other people think of you. And I mean, to a certain extent, you don't want to be,
Well,
you don't want to be, you don't want to be, you don't need to be John Daly all the time. But
to kind of bring in the quote, just focus more on yourself. on what you think of you.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think the rest will fall into place, which is difficult because I mean, I'm still guilty of it all the time. Is like when I'm making a decision, it's like, well, how is this going to look to other people? And I'm like, stop that. You just got to think, well, what do you want? Well, if you ask yourself what you want, you're portraying yourself as you, and you're almost kind of tricking yourself into just going ahead and doing that rather than being, judging the decision based upon what you think other people will think. In doing that, in asking yourself what you want, you're kind of being yourself because you're cutting out the other people in the equation. So
and coming to the decision of what's best for you because of you. Like, because I think there's a whole, like, well, I don't give a fuck what other people think in a very negative kind of an angle, or, looking at it through a negative kind of prism, if you will, or a negative lens that's maybe not so good or not so healthy. So I don't want to push that, like that whole, like, well, I don't fucking care what other people think. So I'm going to kick this person's car and push this stroller over and light this person's mailbox on fire. Like, that's not cool. That's not healthy. But
no, but when other people's decisions affect, or what you think other people think affects your decisions, that's an issue.
Yes, but exactly. So, like, thank you. I like how you spun what I said into something better, and I like that, JB. And that's why JB and I are such good friends, and we're such a good pair because we complement each other. So I can kind of have something, and JB can build off of it. So yeah, like, if you think something is right, or you think something is, like, when you come to that kind of a positive decision, then trust, we said this before, like, have faith in yourself. Like, if you have to run it by somebody for validation, then run it by somebody who you trust, and trust them, trust you, have faith that you are cool, you are good, you are worth it, and your ideas are good. Now, if you're coming from a super negative place, I don't know what to tell you, because, if you're lighting people's mailbox on fire and kicking dogs, like, you're not in a good place, and you need to get to a better place. But don't be afraid to be yourself, and have some faith in yourself.
Yeah, if you're lighting people's dogs on fire and kicking mailboxes.
If you're lighting dogs on fire and somebody beats the fuck out of you,
you've got bigger problems in being yourself.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you're being yourself, and that's what you are, then at least you're being yourself. You'll probably be in jail,
sociopath,
but you'll be yourself.
Yeah. JB calls Tim and he says, "Hey, dude, did you hear about that guy that's, like, lighting people on fire?" I'm like, "Oh, well, what was his reason?" Because, like, there might be a valid reason to light people on fire. Okay, rewind. JB calls Tim, like, "Dude, did you hear about that guy, like, lighting dogs on fire? Oh my God, he needs to fucking die. What the fuck?" Like, that's just how my mind works. I'm sorry. And this is, I think, perfect. And I wasn't sure if, I'll be honest, we knew Steve, at the point of picking this one, I knew that Steve was not going to be with us. So I knew it would be a JB and I. And I thought at the time there was a chance we might pick a topic or a chance that we might not. So I just picked one that was close to my heart. And if you've listened to the Take a Step Back episode, you will know that when Tim gets really drunk and he talks about things that matter to him when he's completely oblivious of what he's talking about, then you'll know that being yourself is something that may or may not have been important to me my entire life, but now it's extremely important to me because I think that's something that maybe not of our own doing, but maybe better together we have realized. JB, I think, could agree with me on this, that there's just something to being yourself that's not necessarily always easy, but it's just so it's what we all need to do. You have to be comfortable with being yourself.
No, it's definitely easier in the long run.
It's easier in the long run, but I'm saying it's not easy to do.
Well, I mean, it's
okay. Let me rephrase that.
It's honestly the easiest thing to do. If you haven't been yourself, it's easier to get back to.
So is being honest, but that's not always,
or harder to get back to. For true, yeah, no, that's a very good example.
It's not easy to swallow all the time. And you may think that, there's so many, and JB, you and I can, I think, speak to this a lot. There's so many hang-ups with being yourself, because to be yourself, you literally have to take all of your insecurities and all of everything else and kind of put them out there on the stage for everyone to see.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I mean, clearly that's something that we've done in spades, but honestly, that's only helped us. So, hey, if you guys are having issues and you want to put something out there, you just send us an email at projectxreclamation@gmail.com.
Or just take our example.
And run with it. But if you want a platform, if you need a platform, you can come on our show and use us as a platform, because that's how we roll, and that's how we do things. So on that topic, I have a quote of the day, quote of the week, quote of the show. I'm not really sure what it is anymore. I have a quote of right now. We'll go with the quote of the show. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. Who said that, JB? She was blind and she was deaf.
Helen Keller. I was going to say Venus Williams.
No, but close.
Neither of those things.
Gender correct? So yeah, and I mean, I don't. If I need to tell you why Helen Keller is motivational, then I will, because if you don't know stuff, that's cool.
She was blind and deaf.
So JB, you're totally right. Like, Helen Keller has an amazing story. We're not going to go into it. Does she deserve her own episode? Probably at some point. If you don't know who Helen Keller is, go look her up. She was blind. She was deaf. She was born without a hope. Pray to St. Jude, the patron saint of hope to hopelessness. She had it worse than a lot of people, and she made it. Nick Vujicic, look him up. He had the deck stacked against him to odds that I would have never ever beat. Let's be honest. I mean, Goggins would have beat those odds because he just doesn't even have failure. Failure's not in his fucking vocabulary, but Goggins he's a different beast. David Goggins.
You don't know that you wouldn't have beat it.
I don't know.
You don't know. You can't put yourself in those situations.
JB, dude, and that's why I love friends like JB, because JB believes in me enough to think that I can overcome Helen Keller's deficiencies in life. Fuck, dude.
Answering
I can't
the
even
iron.
say that with a straight face. No, but seriously, guys and girls, men and women, analyze your circle. Like I just said, with pretty 99% certainty that I could not overcome what Helen Keller overcame. And my one of my best friends, JB, just challenged that and said, you know what, dude, I think you probably could, in different words.
Yeah.
That's a great friend. JB is a phenomenal friend. And you know what? If you don't have a friend like JB will be your friend. Steve will be your friend. I will be your friend. Because that is there. We're going to do an entire episode on support structures and something like that at some point, probably. If you guys want to hear that, sure. Seriously, fucking reach out to us and give us show topic ideas, because we want to do what you guys want to hear. But if you don't have a friend like JB, then reach out to us. We'll be your friends. It's cool.
We will be your friends, and we will talk shit to you and make you feel awesome.
We will pick you up, and then we'll put you down, and then we'll pick you up again, because that's how it works.
Because you're heavy, and we can't carry you that long.
Well, there you go. Yeah, sure.
Pick you up, put you down, pick you up again.
We'll be there for you guys. If you don't have a support structure, we'll be there for you guys. Maybe I should become more web savvy, or we should hire someone to run our website, and we could have a forum, and then we could connect people who don't have people to be each other's people.
Yeah,
we'll definitely get there.
It's a good time.
We'll definitely get there. So hey,
I am not 25 episodes into this whole thing.
You know what that means, though? That means we're one episode away from a half a year. That's kind of a big fucking deal. I feel like that
is a big deal.
Episode 26 should be some sort of a celebration, a party. Hey, listeners.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you will hear this before the episode's recorded, because JB and I are doing this not last minute, but whatever. If you're hearing this the week that it was released, the day that it was released, then email us. And if you want to be part of episode 26, our 6-month celebration, and we'll totally bring you on either physically or via phone, depending on what makes sense, because we'd love to have you, because we love our listeners, because you guys are fucking awesome. Right? JB?
Amen.
Fucking man. By the way, I have no idea how this is going to sound, but I am doing this recording for the first time from my office, which is more shut off from the world. So hopefully there's less background noise.
There's less garbage trucks.
There is less garbage trucks, although I'll be honest, there's never any garbage trucks at 8:30 at night.
Well, but
there's less.
They may be running behind.
There's less Brett and Shannon having a conversation, completely in the background, not caring, not realizing.
True.
But that's okay. It's cool. I love them both. By the way, Shannon, Nick, congratulations. So
congrats to you two.
Do you have any sort of housekeeping or anything?
No, I'm good.
So my JB quote of the day is in vino
veritas.
I need to rewrite that. I can't read my own fucking writing, dude. What is it? How bad is it when you can't read your own writing?
It's pretty bad. Let me make sure that that's exactly what
if it's not, it'll be pretty funny. But yeah. So the short of the long is, I wouldn't lie to you guys. And baby, Steve, we miss you.
Yeah. In vino veritas is a Latin phrase that means in wine truth.
In vino veritas, and I would expand that into in alcohol truth. Just saying.
Well, I think that's kind of what they're going for.
But you know what I'm kind of thinking? I was listening to I was listening to something, and I'm sort of remembering a quote by a man named Justin Bryant Beckstead. And I think it goes something like, "Character is forged in the fires of failure."
Yes.
That is going to go down in the history books because it's the best quote I've ever heard, and I didn't come up with it, but you did. So congratulations, my friend. You're going to be a meme.
Awesome.
You're my friend. I like to give some shout-outs. I
Love
need to
you
give
too,
a
bro.
shout-out to Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl is a girl that used to work for me. She's a friend of mine. She's awesome. And apparently I have to give her a fucking shout-out on my podcast before she'll listen to my podcast. So, Casey Marie Dion. I don't know if that's your real middle name. I just made that up.
Dion?
Dion like Sanders? Yeah.
Dude, is her last name Sanders?
No, literally, fucking hey, dude. Dion is her last name.
I got it. I'm just fucking with you.
She's very cool. She's a back to hearken to Tim's taste and character. Tim loves badass people. Tim loves badass women. Casey is a badass woman. I hired her. She worked for me at my last company. She's going, she's doing great things with her life. Casey Dion, aka Squirrel Girl. This is a shout out to you. Apparently, I am willing to beg for people to listen to this podcast because she's like, well, if you give it a shout out, then I'll listen to your podcast. So, Casey, this is a shout out to you. This is me on my knees begging. Squirrel Girl, please listen to my podcast. By the way, I nicknamed her Squirrel Girl because first her nickname was Darwin Killer because she hates stupid people. And I was like, oh, you're just going to go around killing stupid people. And it'll be like the Darwin Awards. But then she's very ADD. We still love you, Casey, but you're super fucking ADD. But, JB, you've seen the movie Up, right? The
What?
movie Up? You know the dog that has the collar that like basically...
Yes.
Okay, you know how the dog's like, so I was thinking like squirrel. And like, yeah, exactly.
Squirrel,
So that's kind of how Casey is. So that's why I nicknamed her Squirrel Girl. Unbeknownst to me, apparently there's a Marvel superhero named Squirrel Girl who is this kind of like attractive, at least attractive for comic, like, I mean, for an animated chick, she's pretty hot, who wears like a squirrel outfit, like a little squirrel costume with like a tail, and then she like fights bad people. But there is a phenomenal song. It's like, Squirrel girl, who's a human and a squirrel. And so I made that. Dude, I made it sound bad, but I assure you, like, go listen to it. It's probably just as bad as I probably, maybe I'm pretty bad, but whatever. It's pretty bad, but it's like so bad it's good. So I made that Casey's ringtone. So Casey, your ringtone is Squirrel Girl. I get such a kick every time you call me out of listening to it because it's hilarious and I laugh. And if you don't know the Squirrel Girl theme song, you should go listen to it because it's phenomenal. Casey Dion, this is a shout out to you. So please listen to my podcast and tell your friends about it. I actually think you might enjoy it because some people do. Most people do. I don't know. Anyways, so that Jeremy, thank you for your questions. Coleman, Shannon, Elizabeth from Windsor, thank you for your questions. And Jeff, my father's friend, my pseudo uncle Jeff, thank you for enlightening me to the fact that when I'm hammered, I don't let my friend JB talk and I just completely take over because you have made me extremely cognizant of that today. So I think I've done pretty well, JB. Hopefully you agree.
You did very well. Nicely
I also try
done.
to keep my alcohol content to I wouldn't say minimum because I think alcohol for JB and both JB and I, and maybe Steve included, alcohol as far as entertainment and content of our podcast, it's a bell curve because sober is a little drunk, much better. Too drunk, not so good. So yeah.
No. Well, and I tend to not stammer, but very rarely do I get on to the kind of talking role that you do. So right now I'm trying to struggle for the next word to talk about.
Ahead of us, so sometimes.
Yeah,
so
sometimes it's later and I'm a lot more
I had a ton to say, so I think I was drunk and excited. So my manners are out the window. I think you were drunk and tired. So you're not like. You're like, whatever. Tim just won't shut the fuck up. So it's like,
well, no, but at the same time too, this is a collective effort. It's not. It's like this is a team sport that we're playing. So if the content is being created, it has more value from what you're saying. I'm going to let you say it.
Right. Or if I'm just such a bully that I won't let you input, then.
I mean, there's been some of that, but I wouldn't say that that's been the majority of it.
I think it was that one episode, and I also think it was a whole. We use the analogy about the boiling pot with the frog so often. Mm-hmm. What people heard was the last half hour of like a 90-minute session.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think it may have escalated slowly to a point where you were just kind of tired and didn't really care anymore, and I just had a bunch to say, and I was whatever. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. But like you said, I mean, and there's the times like, I mean, the tinfoil hat episode, like JB turned me on to conspiracy theories. JB is more knowledgeable about conspiracy theories and a lot of other things than I am. And there's things that I'm more knowledgeable than JB is. And we complement each other fantastically, and we can even offend each other and interrupt each other and bully each other in a speaking way. And you know what? It's all good. So that brings me right back to our forgiveness episode, because JB forgives me for being an asshole when I was too drunk. And at some point, JB has probably done something to me that I forgave him for, and we are all good. Because you know what?
Oh, I know for a fact. I know for a fact that's happened.
I wasn't trying to drag up things, dude. It's all good. But what I'm saying is JB and I are good, and JB's amazing. And I think having JB in my life makes me better. And there's probably a lot of people in your life that make you better. And hopefully, thank you, dude. Granted, we're humans. We're imperfect by design. So by forgiving JB for his imperfections, and by JB forgiving me for my imperfections, we allow each other to continue to be in each other's lives to make each other's lives better. And Steve, the same thing goes for Steve. And the same thing goes for all of you. And you guys have imperfections, and that's why we love you. Because perfect is fucking boring, let's be honest. So we love you for imperfections, and we also forgive you for those imperfections if they ever annoy me or piss me off. And you're great. And you know what? Go do whatever you want to do, because you're worth it. You're good. And you can do it. And we're here to help you. Make people better. Let people make you better. Let's all make each other better, and let's go influence our circles, and let's go make the world a better place from the places that we control. So thank you. This has been another episode with no fucking topic until I decide what that topic is. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brian and Drew. And I am your wayward son, and I will continue to carry on. And JB is your other non-biological wayward son, as well as our Asian friend Steve. And they will continue to carry on, and we will continue to carry on together and try to make the world a better place. One show, one listener, one glass of whiskey at a time. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. JB, your tagline?
Be good.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
See ya.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Squirrel girl, she's a human and also squirrel. Can she climb up a tree? Yes, she can easily. That's why her name is Squirrel Girl. Is she tough? Listen, bud. She's got partially squirrel blood. Who's her friend? Don't you know? That's the squirrel Tippy Toe. Surprise! She likes to talk to